Hello, I'm here today with Mark Swindale of Shield Technologies in Peterborough, and Mark's been doing some amazing stuff with his businesses over the last 18 months, and we're here to see what Mark's been doing and help you understand how you can take those ideas and implement them in your business. Now Mark, to give people an idea of some background, just fill me in on what it is that your businesses do and how many team members that you've got.
The business is Shield Technologies, and we provide IT support to small to medium-sized businesses. The team is 5.
Excellent. And it's just you that runs the business? Just you on your own?
Yeah, I'm the MD and sole
shareholder,
yeah.
etc, etc. Excellent. Now I know one of the things that you did right at the beginning of when we started working together was introduce a vision and some values into the organisation. Can you tell me what it was what challenge you was experiencing in order for you to choose to do that?
The difficulty with any team is that if you've got one way of working or one vision and one idea of where you want to go, if nobody else knows it, then how can they follow and create a better business? So the challenge was probably to create one single vision that everybody understood within the business of where we wanted to go.
Excellent.
And share that.
So coming up with a vision,
yeah.
Enabled you to communicate that to the team so they could go to where you wanted to go.
Yes.
And what about the values? What was it that prompted you to define and share your values?
In the team building exercise, in creating the right team environment, there needed to be the values, and everybody needed to understand and accept them, or when we took on new people, they needed to fit in with those values and how we worked, because the values is the way that I see that our business is strong.
Excellent. Now I know that many business owners struggle to come up with a vision. They see it as this big airy fairy thing and have difficulty defining it. What exactly did you do in order to get your vision nailed?
Well, obviously on the Diners course we did some work on that particular area, and I kind of went away, and it's very scary for me to do because I'm not a long-term goal person, and it kind of to me felt as though a vision is a goal, and I was always put off by doing it. But sitting down and really working on the stuff that we learnt, taking that and trying to have a look at what I wanted to achieve out of the business and what I wanted for everybody else to achieve. Then we kind of came up with what we were going to do.
Excellent. And turning to the values, what specifically did you do to come up with your values?
Again, the exercise was simply about thinking around words that best described what the business does or how the business does it, and kind of working on those. And the exercise included leaving words behind or choosing one word over another, which enabled us to come up with the 5.
So you went through a facilitated exercise that generated lots of words, and then you chose to narrow those words down to the ones that most resonated to you. Excellent. And what outcomes have you had, what improvements have you had within the team around morale or stuff like that, now you've defined your visions and your values?
Everybody was much happier. I think when we decided on the vision and the values, everybody had a clearer goal, so it was easier to make better decisions. Knowing full well that if they based their decisions, if they didn't know who to ask or what to ask, the decision they came up with is prompting them all the time to bear those gut values in mind when they're making a decision. And ultimately I've given them free license that as long as they make a decision based on a minimum of 3 of the values, and they can quantify it, that they're going to make the right decision.
And I know that you've got an almost unique way of communicating and reminding the team of those values on a constant basis. Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, we had them once we came up with them. There was a lot of talk about how to impart them into the bit within the core of the business, and people had them up on small signs around the place. But I decided to go with sort of 12-inch high letters on the wall, right next to where they work. So
the massive, great letters on the wall. So every day, and I know it's blue wall and striking white wall with blue striking blue writing on it. So there's a constant reminder there.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really special. And then you've got your vision and your values. How do you feel? Has it changed the way that you feel about your business or feel about the team?
Yeah, it definitely has. It's brought us together because we know we can trust each other into making decisions, and people making decisions every day. They don't perhaps realise whether they're small decisions or massive decisions, but they have autonomy themselves. So it kind of gives me a bit of freedom in terms of trust, which is one of the issues that I've faced a lot before this exercise, and it allows them to know that it's not going to come back at them if they've made the decision in the right way.
And if there was one piece of information or one idea or concept that you could share with the people that are watching this video about coming up with the values or coming up with the vision, what would that be? How could you help them?
I think the idea of generating lots of words that resonate with you, and then I think it was a holiday or going on a plane exercise where you had a suitcase with one word in it, a suitcase with another, and you could only take that word away with you. That was one of the ways we got to our values.
So the idea of coming up with lots of different things. I know it was facilitated by Joe Simpson.
Yes.
That particular exercise, and it was the having to decide between one or the other, and then rank them into order that gave you the desire, the motivation, if you like, the clarity on what those numbers, were, or what those words were even. That's excellent, thank you very much. Now, I know another thing that you've introduced in the business as a part of that process was team huddles, and how your team come together. Just explain to me how those work.
Basically on a Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, we all meet. We have an agenda that kind of is evolving, changing all the time, but there's certain things within the agenda that will always remain the same. We do a good, bad, good exercise, so we start off with what's the worst thing that's happened over the week, and everybody can share that, whether that's a personal or a work-related incident. And then we sometimes will quiz people depending on what's going on with, what can you learn from it, and then we move on to other things like what's the best thing that's happened. We go through our team numbers, so our statistics, what we look at from on our business one-page plan, our key performance indicators, and kind of hopefully there's a good feel factor with that, because obviously we're hitting our targets a lot of the time. We'll move into various different things because it's once every week. We have a couple of different items on the agenda for different parts of the month. So we have our full business one-page plan meeting on the first week of the month. On the second week, we do reopens, which is a big key performance indicator for us. I think on the third week we have a spotlight, so a team member will bring something. It can be something funny they've seen on the internet, it can be something they've learnt. We also have other things within there is complaints and compliments section, so we talk about all the complaints we've had, which fortunately is very few, and then lots more compliments that we receive, which again is a feel-good factor because people like to know that they've been complimented for the work, which may go unnoticed. And also we have a section that is based on, the reopens.
So the numbers of times that jobs get reopened after they've been finished.
With the big thing with IT is that ringing up, having a problem fixed, and for it to return the next day or within an hour. So we realise that that's an important part of our business. So we discuss with the team of how we can avoid doing that again.
The fundamental point that I've taken from that then is that you've worked out what your KPIs are, and then as a part of the team huddle you're sharing all of those numbers with your team, so they have open access to all of the figures.
Yeah.
And I would guess that because they've got access to that, they can make better decisions about the business and help you move towards your visions and values. Yes. That's really good. And what problems were you experiencing before you introduced those weekly huddles that encouraged you to introduce those huddles?
No one had a voice.
No one had a voice.
No one had a voice. It's quite simple. It was me running the business, and that was it. Which was something that I always knew I didn't want it to be, but I didn't know how to turn it around.
So if somebody was thinking about introducing weekly huddles with a team, or perhaps if they had a team that's got 60 or 70 people in sort of individual teams, sort of 6-8 peoples within the bigger team, what would you say to those watchers that was looking to introduce a huddle?
We've found it invaluable. People have now got a voice. It's now shared information. One of the other sections is customer information. Is there anything that's changed that somebody might not know because they've dealt with a ticket, the company are moving, or someone's getting married, so it gives us the opportunity to be able to do some of our nice work by sending them out a card or something like that. So we share information on customers. So it all round you're getting more information about the business. I'm learning stuff because there's stuff that happens that I don't know about, perhaps don't need to know about at the time, but it's important to find out.
So would you say that the teams become more intimate and trusting because of those conversations?
Yeah, we start to have a lot more in ours it's called shit of the week, so the bad parts of the week, and people are actually starting to bring more personal stuff to it.
That's really interesting. And if somebody was looking to introduce it, what would you say to them? What, is there one learning or one big thing that you would say, don't do this or definitely do this?
The good, bad, good scenario where you've got good news, bad news, and then good news. If you can stick to some form of agenda that fits that. As I say, our agenda has altered slightly over time, where people have brought different ideas that we should go through. But something fairly fixed, short. Keep it short. We have half an hour. And
okay. So define the agenda, then set some time boundaries so it doesn't go on, and then get as much done in that 30 minutes as you can do. That's really, really interesting. Thank you, Mark. I also know that you've introduced a concept called ball done. Yeah. Just explain to me what ball done is and where did it come from and how did you come up with it?
I guess it's come originally from whale done, which was how they train a whale with the fish, and then obviously taken from a ball done exercise. Bell done exercise, which is the take on that, and why I wanted to implement something slightly different. So we've got 10 marbles at the beginning of every week, and each member has those 10 marbles. They also have a pot on their desk, so every time somebody does something good for them, helps them out, does something good for the business, for the team, we'll award that person with a ball, or it's up to the individual to award that person with a ball. So ball done, thank you very much. And then at the end of the week, the numbers are, the balls are totted up. And assuming that a member has given away a ball, because there is that stipulation, they must have at least thanked one person during the week. If they have the most number of ball dones, then they get a magic wand for the following week. And the magic wand presents them with 3 wishes, and they can use those wishes, again, coupled with the values that are up on the wall. As long as they encompass 3 of the values within it, they can use the wishes for anything they like. It ranges from an afternoon off without it coming out of their holiday allowance to a short notice holiday, because we require so many days before they have a holiday or notice, and they can just book a holiday for the following week or something if they wanted to not making the coffee for a day. They want a break from making the drinks for everybody and have everybody do something for them.
Excellent. So just to recap on what that was then. So each team member has 10 marbles, balls at the beginning of the week and their own pot. Yeah. And every time they see somebody doing something good within the organisation, they want to say thank you or ball done to them. Yeah. They take one of their balls and put it in the other person's pot. And then at the end of the week, the person with the most balls in their pots gets one of the magic wands so they can go out and do. That sounds really interesting. And I would imagine, to start with, the team were a little bit reluctant to do it?
Yeah, because I think they didn't know where the boundaries were with the wishes. And we overcome that fairly simply, but it took a while to work it out, was that I asked everybody for 10 ideas in an email of what they would like to use it for. We amalgamated them, and obviously some of them were the same, and we've printed it out on cards and we hand that round with the wand, so if people are struggling for ideas or worried about where the boundaries are, they know they can use them or use them for ideas.
And when you say hand it out with the wand, there's physically a wand?
Yes, there is. Yeah, we bought a wand as well. Yeah.
Excellent. So that's something concrete that actually demonstrates that they are waving the magic wand.
And we make a public announcement of them having the wand. And also we try as best we can to make sure everyone is aware that when someone's receiving a wand. So we will make sure that we stand up, walk over to them and give it to them, and because obviously dropping it in a test tube, it will make a bit of a plonk as well, and we've got
so massive auditory signal as well.
Yeah, so you can hear it.
It's really good. So just tell me, if somebody was introducing this into their organisation, just how long have you been doing it for?
Oh, probably 6 months.
So we're 6 months in.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of resistance to start with, but now everybody seems to be taking it on board, and it's developing this intimacy, etc., etc. If somebody else was watching this and was thinking about introducing it into their organisation, again, we keep going back to the action that people should be taking as opposed to just watching and listening. Yeah. What action do you think they should do? What's the first step for them to start on this road?
Work out what's important to their team members. So we talked about what reward somebody could have. So there's various different, some people have employee of the month and all that kind of stuff, and this is kind of an extension of that. We actually have a technician of the month ourselves, but that's not related to everybody. There's only a few people in the organisation that can get it, so we needed something that fitted for everybody, and that reward was sufficient enough to make people want to take part, because that's the overall, for me, that was the overall riding factor of it, is that people needed to take it on, and in order for them to take it on, there needed to be a desire to take it on.
So focus on the rewards and make sure that the rewards are focused on the individual people that are playing the game, and not some highfalutin thing that you've come up with.
Yes.
And just correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like none of those rewards are cash based. They're all different. So there's no cash incentive at all. They're all different things. It sort of experiences, if you like.
Yes.
And was there a reason why you did that?
Because we had looked at another form of bonuses that was going on, kind of under the radar at the time that we were looking at implementing. So I didn't want it to be related to that. But I think to say thank you to someone would be very easy to do if that person was going to get cash. I'm not sure my team would do it, but the ethics of it could have been taken the wrong way.
Okay, that's really, really great. And I know you've done something with balloons as well, which I find really fascinating. There's sort of a more visual take on ball done, and certainly a louder.
Yes.
Perhaps you could just explain what you did with balloons?
Yeah, we have one of our KPIs is customer satisfaction, and in order to get our surveys filled out, our customers get the opportunity to complete a survey every time we resolve a job or ticket for them. So we're within the email, but as with most things, people don't read the entire email, so they perhaps don't know it's there, and we ask our guys to prompt them, and we spent the best part of 8 months trying to work out ways to encourage them to do it, and some worked with a degree, but I targeted 15% of our tickets closed to have a survey done. We were hovering around 10 to 12% for a long time, and Claire had come up with an idea that if we put a load of balloons above the service technicians' desks, all with a prize in which they had no idea what was in there, what was going to be in there, how many of what prize, if somebody got a prize when they come out. So every time they asked, and again it still had to fit in with the values, there's still an element of the values being involved, because they are aware of who filled them in on a regular basis. So to ask somebody that they felt comfortable with, I suggested might not be part of the honesty value, that we were asking for new people that didn't fill them in. So as long as they believed it fitted in with the values, that they could pop a balloon and receive the prize that was in it. And obviously we encourage them to do it at any time, because also if a customer suddenly said on the phone, what was that noise, we were able to explain it, which was another in for them understanding that it was important to us to get the feedback, and that they would probably fill one in even without being prompted. Even when I had meetings, there were balloons being popped, and it raised a bit of interest. And within there that I think we had about 7 or 8 prizes of a £5 note, one £10 note, some vouchers for chocolate, vouchers for wishes. Going back to our ball done thing, they had the opportunity to get a free wish. And they had no idea, but they took it on straight away, because I think the element of mystery.
The fun element of it, not knowing whether they was going to win or not win, etc, etc. And I think you told us that the open rate, or the survey completion rate, was between 10 and 12%.
Yes.
What changes, what difference does that make? I don't think you shared the difference.
Yes, at 26%. So it went up to 26% whilst we were asking, which proves that by asking you get more, 14% more.
People complete the surveys, and you get people to ask by having the balloons, or again the visual representation of something actually being achieved. So instead of it just being an intangible number somewhere off in the ether, there's actually a physical representation up on the ceiling, or the balls going in the pots, that actually demonstrates to people that you're actually making progress.
Yeah, and the irony of it is, the other thing that one wasn't expecting from this exercise was we actually had people, I think 4 additional people, 3 phoned me just to give us a compliment, based on the fact that they were being provoked to think about our service, and one emailed me because she'd had 2 of her team members go up to her and say how good we'd done something individually for those 2 people. So it actually raised another aspect of it, of that we were doing a good job, but people perhaps had then had time to think about it because they were being asked to,
so
to rate us.
It brought the results that you was achieving into the consciousness of the customer,
Yes.
as well as the team member,
Yeah.
and that was a kind of a byproduct, if you like, of
Yeah.
trying to encourage the team members to...
Which
to
made
actually
me
do that.
feel even better than the 26%. 26% was brilliant, but the byproduct of it made me feel even better because we had people going out of their way to do something other than fill the survey in to tell us that we'd done a good job.
That's fantastic, Mark. And again, if there was a learning or something that you learned from that experience that you could share, what would it be?
Simply that if you want some form of result out of your business that somebody else can give you, you're never going to get it completely if you don't ask. And by asking, it doesn't cost you any time or any difference, but you're going to get feedback.
Excellent, thank you very much. And then the final one, or the last one before the final one, because I just want to touch on something that's perhaps a little bit more personal of nature, but just talk to me about the price increase that you did. I know, was it 6 months ago that you went through and reviewed what you was charging?
It was January, so probably just a bit more than that, but with the Dana's course, I had built my foundations, the values, the vision, bringing stuff into the business board, done things like that was encompassing the team, making it a better place to work. One of the things that I've always struggled with is price increase and selling more. And so with the foundations of the business kind of almost there, it was time for me to make the numbers better, the actual pound notes numbers better. And I kind of just decided that it was the right time or about time to do it. We raised our prices up on average 5%. We'd written to everybody to tell them it was happening. We had one person ring up out of 65 price increases, one customer ring up to say not overly happy about it. We had a conversation and as I always do, refer back to facts and figures and show them how much work we've done, and actually was able to show them that they've saved money if we'd have by using our contract over other ways of doing it. And then that was the last we heard, and we kind of generated instantly an increase in turnover of £7,000 just by that one small change.
So just to summarise that, you increased the prices by 5%, generated extra net profit of £7,000 because of that increase of 5%, and didn't lose any customers. No. And out of 60 customers, did you say 70?
65.
65 customers. We had one conversation, and they're still a customer.
Yes.
Now, we'll just go back a bit because you touched on something that I think most business owners experience when I'm talking to them about increasing prices. It's very, well, I can't increase my prices because it makes me uncompetitive. How did you feel before you increased your prices?
Probably exactly the same. You feel that you're going to lose people or that they're going to react badly to it. It's a daunting task even at 5%, and individually to some customers it meant £3 a month, 30 quid a year. It wasn't a massive amount,
So
but it still makes you feel uncomfortable. But that was exactly what I did. I broke it down and looked at it and went, well, this customer's going to get an increase of £3. What? It's not going to make any difference to. The reality is, it's not going to make any difference, and it didn't. They were still more than happy.
So now you've done that and you've been through the process. How do you feel about having done that price increase and gone through the process?
Can't wait for January to do it.
And are we going more than 5% this time?
No, probably 5% this time.
Again, if we come back to the learning for the people watching, what would be the one thing? And I've got almost put words in your mouth. I think.
Just do it.
Just get on with it.
Yes.
And stop the whinging. That's really good. And I hope lots of people that are watching this video take that advice and do it, because I've never come across anybody where I've had those conversations. They've increased the prices, and then 2 months, 6 months down the line, they turn around and say, "I wish I hadn't have. I've gone through that process." And invariably, for me, it's because I feel it's because that people don't value the service that they provide. They don't value them. They don't value themselves.
Yeah, some of it's conflict as well. People are avoiding the conversation when, in fact, the conversation came about a week and a half after, so I didn't even know it was going to be about that. I sent the emails out and the letters out, and then you kind of sit by the phone waiting for somebody to phone, and then a week and a half later we had one, and I didn't even expect it to be about that. So I was kind of in a state of relaxedness and wasn't troubled by it.
That's really, really good. Now, just in that short little conversation that we've had, you've made some fantastic changes to your business. And am I right in saying that that's over the last sort of 18 months that
Yes.
you've put those changes in place? And I know, because obviously I know you on a personal level, that that's had some changes to your physical self as well. So just talk me through how much weight you've lost and how that happened and what the consequences of that are.
There was a presenter on the Darners course that had talked about decision making. There'd been previous people that had kind of inspired me. One of the members in the group had gone through a big weight loss exercise, or a health exercise, I guess, and I'd put it off. I'd found other reasons not to do it, and then a guy came along, obviously a guest of Simon's, to do a presentation to talk about his journey and things that he'd changed, and some of the things resonated with me. Probably wasn't even about what the whole presentation, but it was just a case of just make that decision and do it. And I'm trying to use that mantra in a lot of things. Stop going through the whys, the wherefores and the hows, and just do something. And I made the decision 2 weeks after he'd done the presentation that it was time to get healthy. It was time to be active. If I want the business to work, I need to be around for a long time. I need to look after the family. Running a business is stressful, so stress coupled with being overweight is never going to be a good thing. In fact, somebody said to me on the phone the other day, there's never a business book published called I'm overweight and run a successful business and I'm stressed all the time. It probably doesn't ever happen. So it was a case of needing to make changes, and I started a healthy eating exercise in June, and up to today I've lost just over 2 stone.
That's really, really good. And I think the underlying message there was to stop dilly-dallying about stuff and to make a decision, and then once you've made a decision, commit to it and follow through on those actions.
And with the help that you get from the people within the Darners group, it makes it much easier because you get the support that you require. If you decide not to do something, they'll support you, but if you decide to go through with it and you stick to it, you'll get massive support. That's
really, really good. Now, I know that you like sharing, so if there's anybody that's watching this video that is in the Peterborough area or the surrounding area that really wants a fantastic IT company, or there's anybody that's watching this video that would like to find out more about the things that you've done, how could they get in touch with you, Mark?
Well, I can be contacted in many ways, on the phone. Our email address, mark@shieldtechnologies.co.uk. All our contact details are on our website, www.shieldtechnologies.co.uk. I'm happy to talk about any of the stuff I've done in Darners or any of the stuff I've done within the business. I'm more than happy for that.
That's really, really great, Mark. So if anybody wants to get in touch and ask any questions of Mark, or indeed if they're looking for an IT company to help grow their business and them to become more efficient, all you've got to do is just drop Mark an email on mark@shieldtechnologies.co.uk. So that's all we've got time for today, Mark. I know that we've got some exciting stuff, or Mark's got some exciting stuff coming up in the future, so subject to what happens with that, then perhaps we'll have you back in a little while to share hopefully those successes and what else Mark is doing in his business. Thank you very much.
Thank you.